Welcome, Joe. Do you want to just start by introducing yourself to our viewers, please?
Sure thing, Ben. Hi, I'm Joe Pennisi. I'm the president of the Trusted Computing Group. I'm also, and I work for NVIDIA. I'm a principal security architect for NVIDIA for about almost the past 5 years now. And before that, I spent 30 years with IBM and Lenovo doing just about everything you do with a personal computer, from hardware and software and security. So looking forward to this.
So how did the trusted platform module come to fruition 25 years ago? What was the kind of driver behind its creation?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I actually the concept started back in IBM in the late 90s. We actually worked on a project. We just called it the crypto chip at the time, and it was added to personal computer boards at the time. Oh gosh, we were PS2s, I think, at the time. That's how far back it goes. Um, but I think the industry sort of recognized this was a benefit, and IBM formed something called the TCPA, the Trusted Computing Platform Alliance, maybe 99, somewhere around there, to start to standardize this, and then reconstitute themselves in 2003 as the Trusted Computing Group, and the Trusted Platform module was sort of the main impetus of that. And the goal was to try to make these devices more secure by providing a mechanism for storing keys and helping to protect the platform itself. So it started there and has just really continued to grow over the last 25 years. And it's amazing the progress we made. The number of devices is probably over 2 billion TPMs that have shipped worldwide since we started. A lot of changes, a lot of adaptations to changing markets, and we've had a phenomenal set of members that have continued to push this, continue to make it better and better, and I think we're starting to really see its ubiquity now in computing devices, and it's starting to spread into other things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is incredible. So what was your earliest memory of working on the TPM, and how does that compare to kind of what you're going through today?
Oh, it's interesting. I did work on. I didn't actually work on the TPM, the crypto chip. I was doing the platforms, and we were implementing it. I really didn't start in Trusted Computing Group till about 2009. I think that's when I joined the board, and that was right around the time we were doing the transition from TPM 1.2, which was the standard at the time, to TPM 2.0. So I guess my first recollection was that transition period, and transitions are always hard. So that was one of the big challenges we had. It took a couple years to migrate everybody from TPM 1.2 to 2.0, especially in the PC ecosystem where I was working. Windows was the primary user of it, so being able to get everything shifted, and all the operating systems and all the platforms. So that was probably my first recollection of the TPM, and then from there, TPM 2.0, the team that came up with the requirements for that, were the same ones that started at the beginning, learned a lot from the challenges they ran into with 2.0, or sorry, excuse me, 1.2, and uh, look to make 2.0 something that would be sustainable, and that's proven true. And it's been able to adapt well. The things that they you know had the foresight to see um, really helped to make this have good staying power.
Yeah, so like you were saying, is this has been going on for a while now. So what were some of the kind of influential factors driving the development at kind of the start, and how has this vision evolved over the last, well, 10, 15 years?
Yeah. um, I think a lot of the people who were involved saw the benefit, saw the need to be able to protect the platforms we're on. You see, there's an incredible amount of activity in cybersecurity. There's always new attacks coming out, and finding ways to be able to protect your data, to make sure that your device is still operating in a secure fashion. Um, I think that's the thing that drove everyone. They saw the vision of that. it can be challenging in the market to convince people they need security. It's something that's always sort of behind the scenes protecting you and you don't really know it. So it's it's hard to get people's attention and mind share around it. Um, I think that just continued to push, and the organization stuck with their goals and with their vision, and the market's starting to catch up. We've definitely seen progress over the last several years. In one area in particular that really has picked up is supply chain security. So understanding, how has my device been changed from when it got shipped to when it goes to my user, right? So being able to detect that has something that's always been there, but now, we used to see a lot of customers start to be more concerned about that. Um, Certainly during the pandemic, there was a lot of work from home and companies had to adjust to how they functioned. And a lot of them tried to, build efficiencies into their internal IT systems by being able to take and ship a computer directly from a manufacturer to their end user without having to go to the IT team to do a bunch of work on it. So that now made them question, well, when it gets to my user, my user's not an IT person. They're not going to know if something's been compromised. So now it becomes more important to understand, cryptographically, has the machine changed at all? Have the parts changed? Has somebody modified it? So, and trusted platform module is a key part of being able to help protect against that, because it'll take a snapshot. It'll measure all the things, cryptographically, your firmware. It'll take and record all that. So from a remote server, you can get a good sense of whether thing's been modified or not. So that's probably one of the more recent ones that I've seen. The market now has the concern, and the thing that we built 25 years ago to help protect against that has finally found its place.
Yeah, absolutely. So back when you started, I suppose, were there any kind of initial challenges and how were these overcome?
Probably the biggest initial challenge is just adoption, right? Trying to get people to companies, devices to integrate these things. Understanding the benefit. Security can be difficult to understand. People definitely specialize it. So understanding, what it really did and how it helped you, that was a big challenge. Uh, I would say I don't think it was a challenge getting consensus from the organization. There's always you get a number of competitors together, customers, suppliers. Um, Not everybody is going to necessarily have the same vision or the same thoughts about how things are done, but I would say that is one thing I have not seen inside this organization in the 15 plus years I've been in it. The organization, the people are really dedicated to it, and they have the singular vision to always do what's best for the consumers, the people who get the benefit from these protections. So I think that's been really good to see. And these are all volunteers, right? They don't get paid necessarily to do this. This is their, what I like to call, their also job. And people put a lot of time and effort into supporting the mission. It's definitely something that they believe in, and they dedicate a lot of their personal time to as well. You have to travel for it at times to meet up face to face, which is always very helpful. But yeah, so I think just having everyone stick to the mission and stick to the vision has really helped to drive that adoption. Consistent message.
Yeah, it's really great to have that sort of community, isn't it?
Yeah.
So could you share with us some examples or use cases of when the TPM has been like a proper game changer or a technological for technological innovation or progression?
So I can probably talk best about the personal computer industry because that's where I spent most of my time. I can talk to a few more, but I'll start there because that's what I'm most familiar with. Um, for probably the last 10 years, I would say, at least in the Windows ecosystem, one of the biggest benefits the TPM has brought is the ability to do full drive encryption, right? So if you um, if you're worried about your laptop, getting lost or getting stolen and somebody getting the data off it, well, the thing you need to do is encrypt all that data on there. And Microsoft built that into Windows for several generations of Windows. And that was probably one of the biggest uses of the TPM in the market is just protecting your data. And the regulations around data protection are such that if your data is encrypted and your hard drive is lost, if you have citizen data or patient data, if it's not encrypted, it's something you have to report, and you have to go contact all of those people who might be impacted. If it is encrypted and you can show it's encrypted, that regulation doesn't require you to do that because you've protected your data. So it's, not only is it the smart thing to do, it helps you out when things go wrong. So data encryption is probably one of the biggest. I mentioned supply chain security, being able to record how a system boots and report that back to a third party so they can, determine that, or say your IT department, determine that the computer booted with all the right firmware. That's another key element that we're seeing. That's the big push for supply chain security. And then more recently, in the last, say, 5 to 10 years, we've seen a lot more integration of TCG technologies deep into silicon. There's been a big push for device identity, recognizing that you're actually talking to a legitimate chip or which legitimate chip you're talking to. That's really taken off. And not just in PCs, that's something that is used in servers all the way up to hyperscale data centers. It's used in IoT devices. It's a critical standardized element. So being able to identify a device is another big game changer that we're just going to see continue to grow.
How has the modernization of technology shaped the development of the TPM?
Uh, so I guess it depends. Modernization technology is a pretty broad term. So I'll pick probably one example, which I assume is going to be on your list somewhere to talk about, which is post-quantum cryptography. That's probably an easy one to talk about with the TPM because encryption and cryptography are absolutely central to what the device does. And we use the current algorithms that are available and supported today, but with the threat of quantum computers coming, new algorithms are needed. That is one of the things that the TPM and the people who developed the 2.0 version of TPM, they had that in mind with something they call algorithm agility. So one of the reasons we had to go from 1.2 to 2.0 was because 1.2 had hard coded in certain algorithms which were broken. SHA-1 in particular was deemed broken a long time ago, but all of the commands had that hard coded. So they recognize things change, algorithms change, technology changes. So, with this shift to post-quantum cryptography, TPM 2.0 is able to make that shift. And that's something that is, one of probably the most important thing we're working on today because cryptography is so central. So, technological advances in computers, directly impact what we need to do in our TPM. And not just the TPM, all of the, we have storage devices and networking, all of the devices that rely on cryptography have all had to go figure out how they're going to support that. And we had the foresight to recognize that that's going to happen. Technologies will change, things will change, and you need to be able to adapt. So we're very proud of being able to do that. It doesn't come without work, but the spec, we don't have to do fundamental changes.
So AI is so popular now. How has AI and edge computing sort of shaped the development of the TPM?
That's a great question, and I agree with you. AI has just been explosive, and edge computing, I think, in part because of AI, is growing dramatically as well. The challenge with AI is it's hard to tell when something's good or bad, just because it's all numbers, and you have all this data, just reams, and I can't even say reams, it's the terabytes, petabytes of data that you use to train models. You need to ensure that data is good because if you have, if you have things in there that shouldn't be in there, now your models aren't going to be good, and it's not something you can look at to see. So being able to protect all that data you use for training, being able to protect your models once you've done all of the training, so that you can use that to infer correctly. That's critical. And TCG technologies are made for that, to be able to understand if data has been modified when it shouldn't be, to encrypt data and models so that they can't be released where they're not supposed to be. So I think that's really important. So I think we're going to see, a lot of progress in the future around how you secure AI and secure your models and your data. Um, and I think just because of all that data, edge computing becomes a lot more important because you can't send all that data to the cloud. There's just too much. You need to process it locally. So now you have a computing device that you put in, a retail store or some local establishment that has to use these models. So how do you protect them? Because you no longer have them in your data center. So being able to do these things, being able to remotely understand if a computer is in a good state before you move models down to it, being able to protect that while they're on the devices, I think TCG technologies can play a big part in helping to protect all that. So this gets back to the question about where we see technology going. As these new technologies arrive, we'll continue to adapt and provide these fundamental services for devices that need to process all that data.
Looking more into the sort of future, how do you predict the TPM will kind of evolve over the next 20, 25 years or so?
Oh gosh, 25 years.
Yeah, looking deep into the future.
Yeah, I'm sure 25 years ago I couldn't have predicted where we were now, where we would be today. Um, I think it's going to continue to do what for the next 5 or 10 years. We're just going to continue to deliver on the vision we had from the beginning, right? It takes time to impact an industry as big as the IT industry. So I think we'll see more and more adoption. We'll see more use of the technologies and the use cases. We'll continue to store and protect keys. We'll continue to provide a way to what we call a test to the health of a device, so you can determine whether it's booted all of the correct firmware and has all the correct devices in it. So I think we'll continue to see that. We'll continue to see growth of cryptographic device identity. Um, I think those will be the big ones. Post-quantum cryptography is going to take, several years to migrate completely. The technology will be there, but customers still have to move as well. And there's a lot of inertia that customers have to do to move. So, I think we'll keep doing a lot of what we're doing. We'll continue to evolve the TPM to support all of these use cases, to support new cryptography. But then, there will be things that we haven't thought of. 5 years from now, something new will come up, and having this, well designed, well architected vault to be able to collect and store and protect data, and only make it available when it's supposed to. We'll find more use cases that we haven't even thought of, and I think that's the beauty of the TPM is it's something that can continue to do more than we even planned when we designed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all for our conversation, Joe. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. It was great talking to you.